This is a Mazda RX7. And this is the one I bought off Facebook Marketplace. They are the most unique cars because of the rotary engine that is under the hood. So since I got it, there have been a few things I've done to it. Like, I got it home and immediately pulled the engine out, inspecting all the parts, pulling the motor apart, sending the motor out for built-in repair, ripping all of the wiring out of the car, getting the engine back from the rebuild shop from Kyle Mohan, installing my brand new wire harness, installing the new 2024 twin disc clutch from ACT, then we put the motor in the car, then I ran all my fuel lines, did the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel pump from Fuel Labs, then we put the new turbo on, we dressed up the entire motor, and then we had our first start. Everything literally went great. It sounded so good. But then an oil line blew up on us. When an oil line blows up on an engine, you could lose the motor, but luckily that didn't happen to us. So we fixed the problem and got right back to tuning. After tuning it, I was able to put my dream body kit on my RX-7 to replicate the dream car I saw years ago. But sadly, after all of that hard work, there was still so much work that I had to do to make the car actually run properly. So today, I'm gonna actually do everything it takes in order for this car to run and drive. I'm not gonna lie, it has actually been a while since I touched this car. I mean, there was actually so much work that I put into it after an hour-long video of me busting my butt and 5 videos of putting this car together, and I still can't drive it, and that sucked. And not only that, I had a 1-on-1 sale for all the parts from the RX-7 that were in these little shadow boxes. I sold to all of you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. And then I saw family, and you know, I just lost motivation. And if you did have any issues with your order, there will be an email in the description if you had any issues. I will take care of that ASAP. So, in order to get my car running, I decided to start with the most important thing. In order to really drive this car, I need to make sure I have more than 5 lugs on here. And because this is where all the power is being put, I need to make sure that the wheels are nice and hard against this.
Later, we see that same tire come rolling back.
It needs to be replaced anyways. So as I got further into the project, I figured out that I had to pull out the entire hub assembly or the spindle with the wheel bearing. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm just gonna replace the wheel bearing and all of the studs on both sides. Now I got 2 of those are on its way, and I need a special tool to pull it all off, so I gotta stop where I'm at. What I'm gonna be doing now is, this is the idle air control valve, right? And this is the new plug for it. So what I'm gonna do is cut this extra depot that I have and add this plug so I can actually make the idle air control valve work. The tuner will then tell the computer what this is, and then we'll make this idle air control valve, which is needed for some reason. I was supposed to check this off, but wiring it up isn't on here, so at least I got that done and it wasn't on there. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the boost lines that are on the boost controller, because when I was doing the leak down test, I heard some air coming out through here, and I realized that it's actually done wrong, so I'm gonna do that now and fix it, and then I'll be done with that. With the boost controller fixed, I wanted to figure out how to remove the rear wheel hub. I've seen someone use like a 150-ton press to take that whole area apart, and I feel like I might be running the same issues, and there's potential I might have to order just a whole axle, hub, and assembly over here just because of how bad this whole area is.
Well, I tried asking. It's not going anywhere. Oof. I'm not a fan. Might need heat. Well, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, that looks like a daunting job. And all I want to do is just drive my car. But what's really crazy is that I can literally drive any car I want in F124 by EA Sports. So I've been personally playing this game a lot off camera because it's kind of been my getaway from working on my car all the time and not being able to drive them. Literally all of them. And honestly, this is for everyone. This isn't just for a mechanic or someone that likes cars. This is a game that everyone can play and enjoy. This game is offered on literally every single console. You can get the Standard or Champion Edition. The Standard is $69, or you can get the Champion for $89.99. So in F1 2024, you can actually be one of the 20 that get to race against Max Verstappen himself, which is a crazy new addition in the Champion Edition of F1 24. And I spun. So I mean, realistically, you guys don't have to buy a car and then build an entire car. You can just go on F1 24 by EA and just play right away. With the new driver career, it will give the players an authentic F1 experience. You can race as yourself, a hero, or a sporting icon. What's crazy about this is that the suspension is so good in the game, they actually use the game to improve the real world suspension. You can create new steering geometry, and if you're familiar with all this stuff, you can even work on the roll axis and even the yaw precession. One of the greatest racetracks in the world, Spa-Francorchamps, has received a major update on Formula One's supplied CAD data. And they literally work so hard on making this game as accurate as possible. Like, it's literally like a real life experience, because I've literally driven an F4 car like myself. Like, this is really accurate. It's really good. Now that we've told you about F1 2024, let's get back to making this car great again. I have never done this before, but I have a turbo boost leak checker. And what I'm gonna be doing is putting that boost leak checker on the turbo, and I am filling up the entire thing with air to see if it'll hold pressure. And if it doesn't, you're gonna hear the leak, and you have to find where that leak's coming from. And what's weird is that the injector is leaking from the back side. So that means I have to stop an injector leaking from the opposite direction. But what's crazy that tells you is I was creating boost in this entire system, that if it was expanding, the gas that's being thrown in is now being pushed backwards out through that area, and that could start a fire into the engine bay, which could be bad. I have replacement sleeves, and once I get those out and get them switched, that leak should stop. So the proper way to take these out is to actually take the lower tank manifold off. But in order to do that, you have to take literally everything off of the entire motor. And I don't want to do that because that will take me 12 hours. So if I just think a little bit smarter, I can probably get this done. Keep in mind, I cannot drop anything into this hole. Otherwise, I will have to take everything apart or I'll blow my motor. And I'm coming up with some ways to pull the sleeve out. I had this idea where I'm using like a riv nut, and the expanding of the riv nut should be able to go right in the sleeve. And then when it expands, it should be able to pull the sleeve out. I could take the bolt out. So after finally removing the injector, I came into another issue where I couldn't get at the sleeve properly to remove it. I think I might have to take the whole lower manifold off, sadly. I'm working on building like a homemade slide hammer to get the sleeve out of the manifold, the injector sleeve. But let's build the slide hammer. So after building my slide hammer and then trying it to remove the sleeve, I feel like this isn't gonna work now. I called my friend to see if he had anything to help me remove it. I didn't really find anything. I was looking for like an anchor, screw, whatever. One of his friends helped me out and said, why don't you get a bolt that's about the same exact size that it is, and then just use like a rubber band. And that's exactly what I did. I got a bolt, it fit just perfectly inside, and I was able to pry the whole thing out. I am just so surprised that I was able to do it, and the inside of it is like perfectly fine. It's kind of crazy, but I haven't been able to get that one out yet, right? That's yet. Oh, that's gonna be so hard. I'm gonna take this one off, and then I'm gonna try to shove the other one in, and then we will see. Okay, so sadly you weren't able to see that, but I brought back my slide hammer technique. I welded it to this, and so the goal is that I'll be able to tighten the bolt with this nut here that was previously used for something else. And then we'll use this socket as the weight to slide it up and hammer it out. Now, the only thing I'm afraid of is debris falling in. I did pack the holes with paper towel like that right there, so I will vacuum it out. For me, I'm just trying to do the least amount of work possible, think smarter instead of work harder, you know? All right, let's see if I can get this. This little black line right there, that means it's all the way in. You're gonna slowly watch that. It should come out. Wow, that worked so well. Look at this. That literally came out so perfectly. Wow, I am so happy with that. That is so good. Oh my God. So now let's see if the white paper towel's still in there, because I saw some right there, because I know it's like in 2 pieces. Yep, it's still there. So when I was fully assembling this car, the kit that I bought for the fuel rails and everything came with these. These are like little injector caps. And I decided not to put them in because I was like, why would I do that extra work when the ones that were on there looked fine and they didn't, and I skipped on it, and this is the sign to not do that and do every little bit that matters. So we're gonna be putting these in after I clean up everything and suck all of everything out of there. This is good, I'm happy. This is far, far, far along. Like, I was more afraid to do this than anything else. But I think as of for right now, I'm gonna call it a night. The next repair that constantly set me back was the rear wheel hub. So I decided to tackle that next. Maybe my ADHD will take me elsewhere and start working on other things too.
That doesn't work. I am going to put my torch on it and let it sit there for like 2 minutes straight until it gets red hot in both areas, and then just go to Hammer Town, see if it'll come off. I want you to comment down below. Do you think it's gonna come off? I'm gonna let it cool down, and then unbolt all of it off, and then just press it off. Something else. Wow. Oh my God, I did it. I finally got it out. So this is frozen in here. I watched so many videos about this. This whole hub is just frozen in there. So the biggest thing that they did was heating this outside of the hub and not the axle, because the axle will expand. We want this to expand, and then putting it under a press. And luckily, I have a little press here. Sadly, this is only a 12-ton press. The guy that I watched, he had a 150-ton press, and then the other guy had like a forklift and then some special tools. So I'm hoping that this would work well. So we're gonna cross our fingers and pull this out and hope that it works. All right, well, I got another problem here. This doesn't fit in here, so then I can't really press it down on anything. I'm probably gonna find a better thing to do. I'm taking this thing to a heavy machine trucking company neighbors across the street that do stuff like that, and see if maybe that will help. All right, let's go. My knights in shining armor, the neighbors. Just hold it right there. How many men does it take to take off my axle? A lot. Well, since we have all day, how's your day going?
Jacking wood.
Honestly, this is my favorite way I've seen so far with this thing, whatever it's called. What's that called? Oh, no! What? You know what? I loosened it, you know. Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm funny. So we're gonna put these on blocks now. The bearing has a race in the front of it. I'm just not sure what comes off. Well, something's coming out. I'm not sure what it is, but it's coming out.
Oh man.
There she is.
My first day.
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to come out, just like this. And then you just flip this over and you apply heat to it and it'll literally slide right off. This was definitely a very successful day, I can say so far. Okay, so not gonna lie, I took a few hours off this and I just decided to put this in because I got the little gauge pod holder. So I got the Corvette partially done, but that's not part of this video. I did get this like gasket maker stuff. Basically, it's like you can cut out your own gasket. So I have this, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to take the plate off of this back here. Then I'm gonna take that plate in and I'm gonna just sketch out my own gasket and then put it on and I'm done. And then I'm probably gonna get some food because I'm hungry and I've been here all day. But yeah,
Go
that's
do that food part right now.
yeah, that food part is a good idea.
Yeah, I want to see what time the kitchen closed.
Oh, it's closed, man. I'm sorry.
God damn it, Kevin! Oh my God, it's so dirty. Dude, the gas is coming off in pieces. Oh, that's the worst part. Probably definitely gonna clean that later, but at least I got the gasket for now. So at least we know what size it needs to be. I could probably just use this. Yeah, should be fun.
After cleaning down the gasket and then cutting the new piece, I was able to install it.
So I'm gonna close her up and then do a pressure test and see where we're at. It better be good, I'm gonna be sad. 5. Hold on, where's that sound from?
It sounds like that. Yeah, it's coming from the hose. The pressure builds up at
Wait. So that thing just blew off and I saw it going. That was crazy. Got my hand a little, but we're good. We're gonna go for it again. But it holds pressure now. Holy shit. Wow, that held work. Wow, I wish I got to see that. I think we all got up almost to like 50 PSI before it blew off, which I was trying to turn the tool pressure down. It should never be that high. They literally said in the instructions to be careful because it will blow off.
After checking over the equipment, I decided to give it one last test.
All right, 5.
Should be like 10 PSI there.
Right at 10, a little over 10.
15 PSI. Hear no leaks?
It sounds like it's coming from
Yeah,
back
go
there.
over there on that side too. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing
It sounds clean.
I'm hearing the compressor.
Oh, is that over there? Yeah, that's because all the air is filling.
I think I'm hearing the air fill in there or something like that. Like I don't.
Oh, it's probably going through.
That's what I'm
and out through the exhaust. Go do the exhaust. Tell me if you hear anything out of the exhaust.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. We're pressurizing the entire system. Before it was leaking like crazy, like there was a hole in it. So I'm just glad it's better now.
Now that I know the engine is going to run completely sound, there are a few things that I need to take care of that are a bit smaller, but are very important for longevity of this motor, like this heat wrap.
This is basically a heat wrap. You can wrap it around pretty much everything you have, and it's going to keep the heat out of an area. And for me, these wires are so thick, I have to use something like this, and it's actually just as long as I almost need it to be. Okay, so now that that is done, I need to get the heat wrap here because that's where a majority of the heat is gonna come from. So I have this heat blanket that is supposed to be going over the turbo. As you can see, this thing is very big and very fluffy, and there's a lot of fluff here that I need to fit in this very, very small area. I can't even get my finger in. So it may be potential I have to cut this, which is very sad, but it needs to go on.
I decided to compress the fluff within it to make it easier to install. So, after leaving it for a few hours, I was finally able to install it.
I'm going to focus on the wastegate, and because this car has only had 3 heat cycles in its life of turning on and off and on and off, I have to check all the spots that can get hot. And so far, I've already checked some of the spots at the top here, but I have not checked the wastegate down there. So all of the bolts and the hardware on this, we need to make sure that they're tight and everything looks good. So a lot of the wires under here are kind of just like hanging, and so I need to kind of push them up so it doesn't rub on the tire.
Finally, I was starting to gain momentum in finishing all of the repairs that I needed to do. But there was a couple major things that still needed to be done, like fitting my new exhaust.
This exhaust here, it has such a fat tip on it that I won't be able to fit it with the body kit and the new diffuser that I have. So what I did is I called up some buddies. I met Preston here and he brought me a couple options. So I have these twin tips here, and I'm gonna switch to this single to a dual. Yes. I'm gonna cut that end of the exhaust off and I'm going to weld it on. If I don't like the sound of it, I'm gonna find the straightest point I can and add one of the resonators from my 240 onto here. So probably something like in this area, and then just add a hanger to it. I'm really happy with this. Thank you so much, Preston, for doing this. This is gonna be so sick. All right, so now that I have this piece here, I've kind of slightly measured that this is how long I want it to be because the tips are then now going to stick out even further. So I'm going to cut the exhaust here. No, I'm gonna cut it here. And then if I need to take it back, I can. So I'm gonna cut the exhaust here, and then I can try to fit it all up and see how well it'll fit. Oops. I fixed it. The exhaust hanger is now in the correct spot for me to put this part on. So really right now, this is the most crucial part where I tack everything together and I put it together, and then once it's good, I weld it all together. But before I do that, I wanna make sure I like the look of the exhaust. I mean, it sticks out so far. And of course I want it to stick out far, but I don't want it to stick out too far. Enough to where it just doesn't burn the bumper, but not where it looks like a tuba sticking out the back of my car. That's how much I want to cut off of it to shorten it back so I can make it look decent. Okay, so this is what I feel like I might go with right now. I've got it set perfectly to where I want it. I've got it as far over as I can get it. So honestly, this is gonna be my first exhaust job I've ever done, so pretty stoked with the outcome so far. This metal to this metal is very hard. This weld I'm happy with, right? And so is this one, but this is very hard to do, and obviously I think it's because this is chromed, but like when you weld it, like melts through this metal but doesn't melt through that one. Welding is interesting. There's a lot of things that go to it. So
you see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.
So now let's hear what it sounds like. So right now I'm not just turning on my RX7 and hearing my exhaust for the first time. I'm also checking 17 other things that I've just worked on to see if they work too. So not only do we get to hear the exhaust, I'll let you know if I like it or not. If I don't, you will know. Okay, exhaust sound check 1 and see if everything works and nothing goes bad. Fire extinguisher over there. It sounds pretty good. I don't mind that. That sounds pretty good. It's loud too. Wow, wow, wow! I did exhaust! CK did an exhaust, yay! A lot of things happened there. I opened up my entire engine. I put a stethoscope, I checked everything inside. I feel like I'm happy with knowing that there's nothing in there, or if there is, it's now at the rear and it still runs and sounds good. Second, I'm happy with that. That's not the worst thing ever. Dude, the way it steams, that is cinematic AF. What this means is that most of the things that I've gotten done on here, I could literally go for a run and drive. But the only thing that is holding me back now is doing this. But I also want to get Hannah's reaction, so I'm gonna have her see it.
So you've already heard it?
Yeah, but I want to get your 1 out of 10. Does it sound ricer? Does it sound good? And for me, I'm decently happy with it.
I can't believe you welded that.
Yeah, I know. The car's running now. It wasn't before.
Can you drive it?
No, I have to put all this together. I'm waiting for this piece to come in. So last but not least, I have to put the hub and the wheel bearing and the axle all together so this car will actually drive. And now that I have all the parts with the wheel bearing and all the pieces, I now get to put the car completely back together. Okay, so another thing I did is I actually put the wheel bearing inside of the freezer because that means it's going to shrink, because when something's cold, it's gonna shrink, and when something's hot, it expands. So by doing that, it's gonna make it easier for this bearing to actually press in. This is a really big deal. Like, I am a couple steps away from driving this car out of where it was at, from once a car that didn't run to now running. This is exciting. Now, the next thing that I have to do is I have to get the snap ring in to that little ridge that's like right here. Yeah, good luck for me. Ha ha ha. How do you get half of it in? It was in! What the It was already in! I broke the tool? What? God damn, it's so close. No way! No way! Oh, well, that wasn't that hard, so now to do whatever is next. So the next thing I'm gonna do is press in these studs. And I realized that it worked for this one stud, but now I have to switch it up. All right, that looks good. So now for the next thing for me to do, I gotta put this back on the car. Oh, time to put this car on the ground and drive it and start tuning. So, I know, it smokes a lot. It runs not the best right now. We have to get a tune on it. And right now the fans won't turn on. I don't know the oil pressure. I don't know the oil temp. I don't know the coolant temp. I know nothing about this car when I drive it. So when I connect with him and I actually do a couple drives and I log, I'm gonna learn so much about this car and feel more comfortable letting it run longer than I just did. But wow, I'm so happy with how far I've come. It's crazy. All right, so today is tuning day. I've already got the tuner on the phone here and the car is pulled into the garage and it's running good, but it needs to run even better so we can start taking on test drives. And as you can see, everything that I just added to the car needs to work. So now we're gonna tell it how to work and then we're gonna take it on our first test drive and then he's gonna add some more things to it and then we're gonna be able to get our first 1,000 miles put in on it. So he's in on the computer and he is tuning remotely. And we're gonna be working on it. So sooner or later here, we're gonna be able to start, I have a feeling, and all of the oil temp, coolant temp, and intake air temp are all the same now. So if I wanna read my sensors, I have to do this. I have to open the computer and look at it. But as of right now, I have...
All right, let's go ahead and fire up the engine.
None of these work. Okay, fire it up. Okay, so most of this tuning session has just been about doing the idle and making sure the idle's good, checking the values. So that's $250 of just doing that. So I might just schedule calls him in an hour or whenever he's available and then just continue doing the session. But right now, it is, this is how it should be idling. Okay, so he told me to hold it up at like 3,000 or 4,000 RPM that he wanted to see it or whatever. So it's getting really smoky, getting a little dizzy. Yeah, a couple high revs. Let's do it. Wow, that sounded beautiful, Nelson. The pops were so good. Perfect, so I just wanted to double check. I got the go ahead to drive this car just around, just very lightly. Thank you so much, appreciate it. There you go. That's the tuning session done. I can go out for my first drive in this. I'm gonna chill for a second, then we're gonna go on our first drive. So the most important one is this number here. Okay. If it goes to 0, the car will shut itself off, but it should never hit 0, otherwise your engine will explode. Is this the range you want? No, it will go down to like 40 or something. 40 is fine. That's oil pressure. That's sick. No flames yet, but it will for sure soon. Sick. Dude, it will soon. That's why I made the tip so long. Like 3 PSI right now. So I'm just pumping the brakes, make sure the brakes work. Make sure the steering works. Oh no! Just kidding. Whoops. It was kind of rough. How's everything look? Okay? Yeah. So, cool. That's the first drive. That's literally the first drive. I haven't cleaned the windshield. It's so bad. We're just gonna go down this way. Damn, there's people everywhere. That's the first time I heard the blow-off valve. So what I need to do is I just need to drive the car a lot. Yeah. Just normally, just like this. And I need to get like some miles on it. Break in the motor basically. Yeah. First time filling up the gas tank. Oh, that was cool. Obviously, we're gonna spend some time, roll out those kinks, but in my next video, I'm probably gonna do like a full drive day with this. We'll do some like long road trips in it, take it to a car show or something, have some fun with it. But yeah, we gotta get it prepped for the wrap, so we're gonna probably do some of the paint work, stuff like that. But really, I just wanna enjoy this car. I'm working on a lot of projects right now. I got the Corvette, I got this, I got the 240, I even another car that might be coming. It's like, it's all piling on me now and I need to finish them. So I'm kind of taking like almost not one thing at a time, but I'm trying to. So with this, I might take it easy for a little bit, but I'm not sure. I'm just like taking it step by step. But yeah, I know I'm gonna drive it more, so we want to figure out what's going good and bad with it. But yeah, sick, cool, love it.